Hey guys, once again, it's your pal Mr. Abby coming at you from my home in Cortland. I hope you guys are staying healthy and warm on this especially cold day. I don't know what it looks like up in Syracuse, but it's snowing here. Don't let that ruin your springtime adventures, though, because today we're going to talk a little bit about another topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that is animal classification. I know it's a big word, but when we're talking about classifying things, it's just like when you're in preschool and you're sorting triangles, squares, and cubes into the right holes. It's the same thing, except we're doing it with animals, and you can do it with plants too. We're going to start with animals because sometimes it's a little easier to see the differences between animal groups than it is when we're talking about plants, fungus, bacteria that you need a little microscope to check out. Um, After we watch this brain pop, some of the things I want you guys thinking about are what the different animal groups look like. Why do we group up animals in different ways? I know it kind of, when we talk about labels and stuff like that nowadays, we're like, we don't like to put names to things. Sometimes we don't like to call things one group or another because we miss out on a lot of things. When you don't think before you group things up, sometimes it can lead you the wrong direction, which is why there's a guy in the 1700s. His name was Carl Linnaeus. He came up with a really great way to organize your groups of plants, animals, and all sorts of different things. Throughout history, we used to call whales fish. We used to call bats birds because they fly. And when you organize things that way, whales because they swim or fish, bats because they fly or birds, you miss out on a lot of things. For example, bats don't really have as much in common with birds. They don't have feathers, they don't have beaks, they don't lay eggs. They have a lot more in common with mammals because they drink milk as babies, they have fur. So when we think about the way we organize these different things, we can learn a little bit more about them. We can talk about them a little easier. If I'm talking about mammals, you automatically know I'm talking about things with fur that have drink milk when they're babies and they're born without eggs. They're live birth. When we talk about fish, I'm talking about things with scales, gills, fins. Organizing things in different ways can really help us talk about them and learn about them as different groups. So these are some things I want you to think about. Again, it's not just animals. You can organize plants this way. We organize bacteria this way. It's a really important thing to think about. Um, when you get through this brain pop again, I've got a little quiz for you, and again, a little section for me to hear what you guys think, because it's really important that I know where you guys are on this. Any questions that you guys have, your thoughts, what really interests you about this. I know I've always loved this kind of stuff. And another word we have for the classifying of animals that Carl Linnaeus came up with was taxonomy. Again, big word, just means that you're sorting these animals and plants into different groups, so it's a little easier to talk about them. Just like my little friends back here, if I'm talking about birds, they've got feathers. There's a lot of common features that they have. But it's not just the common features that's really important, because otherwise we would call bats birds again. Um, Another thing that's really important when we're talking about classification is relationships. Who's related to who? Your cousins are in the same family as you. Maybe they don't have the same last name as you. You can kind of think of them as groups like that. Your family, your last name, you could say, in my case, it would be the Abbey family, Mr. Abbey. The Abbey family is one group, and you can put everybody in my direct family, my parents, my daughter. You can put them all in the Abbey group, but that's not all my family, right? We've got cousins and stuff that might have different last names than us. They're in a bigger group that's still our family. And you could put all humans in an even bigger group that's all our family too. That's really what we're doing here. We're sorting things out. We're looking at the groups we all kind of fit into. And then humans fit into the primate group, bigger groups. And then bigger and bigger still are mammals. So you're just thinking about putting things into increasingly large or small groups. Mr. Abbey is just one You could say me one species, although that's not really how it works. All humans are one species. But if you're got one of my cats dragging off one of his toys, if you hear that, the Mr. Abby is one human in a larger group of Abbies, in a larger group that is humans, in a larger group that is mammals, and so on and so forth. We'll talk a little bit more later about what kind of groups we all fit into. Like humans are one species within the whole family of mammals, and the whole family of mammals fits in the whole kingdom, which is huge. I think kingdoms are big. Whole kingdom of animals. And in the kingdom of animals, you've got things like humans and even things like insects, which are also animals. So that's a really big group. Plants. A kingdom can be, the kingdom of plants can include everything from an apple to a moss that's living on the rocks. They seem like really different things, but they're all in the same kingdom. So I'm going to go through our little quiz here, just in case you need a little bit of help going through it. Classifying animals. The first question here is, classifying animals is, Darwin, here. Why don't I just my cat there? Come here, buddy. Oh. Darwin's being a big silly, carrying around his toys and making all sorts of noise. Say hi, Darwin. Nope, he's gonna run away. All right, go ahead, buddy. All right, so again, classifying animals is it organizing animals into groups based on things they have in common? Taking animals to school? How animals find their food? Or where animals live in the wild? Most animals in the world are they warm-blooded? Are they vertebrates, which have backbones? Are they invertebrates, animals that don't have backbones? Or are they dangerous? Most animals. Mammals are they invertebrates which hatch from eggs and are cold-blooded? Are they vertebrates with hair, which are warm-blooded and drink milk as babies? Are they vertebrates that live on land and in the water? Again, by vertebrates, we mean animals with backbones, like you and me. Or are they vertebrates which hatch from eggs and are cold-blooded? Amphibians. Are they animals with feathers that fly? Are they animals that have scales and hatch from eggs? Are they animals that live in both land and in water? Or are they all poisonous? Cold-blooded animals keep their bodies warm or cool by, do they make their own heat in their bodies? Again, like you and me, we can warm ourselves up. Do they heat up in the sun or cool off in the shade or in the water? Do they eat other animals to keep warm? Or do they have fur to keep warm? And again, we got a little section here at the bottom for a longer response. I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think is useful, or why do you think it's useful to classify animals? And which kinds are your favorites? I know when I was about you guys' age, I was just about obsessed with marine biology. I loved learning about everything that lived in the oceans. Now I really just enjoy learning about just about every kind of plant animal that I can. I really dig getting into classifications and the relationships between different animals and the families that we all live in. As we all know, we're all a little bit related. They say that you share like 30% of all of your DNA with a banana. So we're all a little bit related. We all have the same kind of DNA and everything like that. I find that fascinating. I don't know about you guys. But again, I would love to hear about what you think. What are your favorite kinds of animals? What kind of things really interest you about this? And if it doesn't interest you, what about it? What do you find wrong with the system? What's boring about it to you? Darwin, he's being a silly. I sure like my kitty friends. And they're all in the same family as lions, so it can be our relationships don't necessarily we don't all have to look alike. I mean, a pug and a wolf look very different, which is a subject I would like to read up to you guys later about. Hopefully, with my daughter when she gets up and stops being a lazy bones this morning. I'd like to take a little time to read with you guys later a book that one of my professors from college helped write called Great Adaptations. I look forward to that with you guys. I hope you do too. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, stay warm in this cold weather, and I hope you guys have a great, marvelous Monday. Catch you later.